I guess it is indeed a pleasure once again to chat with Sundar. This time I'm going to focus more on his workshop that he's doing, a pre-conference workshop. But I would like to quickly tell you that he's a test architect, hands-on guy, very humble. He has been with ATA for a very long time, helping organize so many events. And at the same time, he is basically doing these workshops. He's himself into too many technical stuff. A guru, I would say, here with us today, Sundar. Welcome to this small chit chat and conversation. I would like you to basically talk about your wonderful workshop that you have planned as a pre-conference workshop, which is about playwright. And playwright is something which I feel is the most upcoming tool. So rather than me talking about it, I want you to talk about this. And you mentioned it is 8 to 9 hours, so it's very intense session that you're planning. So I want you to talk about that, Sundar.
Hey, thanks a lot, Adi. Once again, thanks a lot for the warm welcome, and it's a pleasure to be associated with ATA and GTR 2022 as well. Yes, coming to the workshop, I mean, Playwright, as we all know, in the last 1 to 1.5 years has been gaining a lot of popularity. One of the clear, what is that? Yeah, what I would say is that clearly in the last 6 to 7 months, I see a lot of traction that's been there for Playwright as well. So just to kind of step back and say, hey, where does Playwright come from, and how did this initiative even started? Of course, I don't know how many know about Puppeteer. Puppeteer was a very famous framework from Google, which we used Chrome Dev Tools to kind of automate the UI test cases. Microsoft eventually picked up the Puppeteer theme from Google, and they moved them to their under their umbrella. So the Puppeteer team actually came up with this framework called Playwright. First and foremost, they understood that there is a lot of fragmentation in terms of automation tools itself. So they want to build a unified tool, but they didn't want to build something that is like a click and play and make it easier and leave the creativity outside. So they started building the libraries that are required for the tool, and that's how Playwright came to be. And it's a phenomenal tool, so to speak, and tool come library. When I say tool come library, Playwright can be actually run standalone as its own framework. But at the same time, if you wanted to use it as a library with Cucumber or Jest or any other framework, it's possible as well. So given the flexibility that Playwright provides, the adoption in the last 1 year has become pretty good as well. And I've been using Playwright, and what I see is that when it comes to UI testing, the biggest benefit that you see is it runs flawlessly, and it has a lot of utilities which are available for UI testing, which I will kind of discuss during the conference workshop. But at the same time, it also provides API test facility. So people who are kind of very, people who work on a hybrid framework, they would actually love to use this API plus UI coupled option that is there in Playwright. The other best thing, and which we may not discuss in the conference, is that Playwright can be used with your front-end frameworks as well. So in the organization that I work, I mean, developers also write Playwright UI tests at a very unit level. So when the React apps that they use are launched standalone, the Playwright test runs and then it gives feedback instantly. But then it's more of a unit UI test without much of DB coupling. But yeah, just wanted to kind of illustrate that Playwright is now getting into the left side of our testing world as well. So given all this, I wanted to actually kind of formulate a workshop and also want to kind of start with a beginner who is getting into the automation industry. So I want to kind of touch upon whatever whatever a beginner wants to learn at the start of the day, and then give some what is that? I mean, Playwright works better with TypeScript being Microsoft's own what is that language on top of JavaScript. It's also becoming more popular. So as a beginner, you will get to learn from the workshop on the UI elements that you would want to know, and then have a crash course on TypeScript. And then we will get into the UI and API testing on Playwright. So you won't believe that you can actually learn Playwright in like an hour and a half. It's that easy. After learning that, it's more about how do you kind of utilize this learning to build your test cases. That's all. So the workshop itself is actually what is that, formulated more or less like how ATA does the Selenium workshop as well, for the Selenium exams that you take with ATA. So it's done in the same format as well. So yeah, I hope if you join the workshop, you will get to learn a lot, right from an elementary level to TypeScript and all the way to Playwright.
Very nice. In fact, guys, I would strongly recommend. Okay, so this is some area which is something which every tester should go for. See, irrespective of whether you know programming or not, irrespective of whether you know Selenium or you know any other tool or not, this would be one skill which I foresee would basically give us basically that kind of edge going forward. So based on whatever Sundar told and based on whatever I have read, it is something which is going to stick around with us for a long time. And invest in this in terms of your time, okay, in terms of the way that you're going to learn, and learn from an expert who is hands-on this tool. So if you look at a coming up technology and you get people like Sundar to do these workshops, do not miss, guys. So I would probably be part of this workshop. I want to basically learn, and then we will probably do something more on this, Sundar. If you allow me to do with you under AT umbrella, we will plan it out. So we will definitely think about
Certainly.
that and do it. But I would like to learn. So this is what my intent is, depending upon how much time I can spend. But this is one of those workshops which I want to be present all through. So guys, thank you so much, Sundar, for doing this workshop. Very special, and I strongly recommend everybody to be part of this. Cheers. Thank you so much, Sundar.
Thank you, and look forward to it as well.